The guards cross their spears in front of me before I even reach the door, and one of them tells me, in a flat voice, that if I take one more step, I will be removed from this station by force. I take the step anyway. My name is Daniel Ward, and 4 months ago I was sent here as the human envoy to the Triumvirate, a council of 3 alien peoples who fought a long war among themselves before humanity ever arrived. I was told my job was simple: watch, listen, report. Do not interfere. I am about to interfere so badly that I might not have a job by tonight. Behind that door is the Empress of the Karos, the strongest of the 3 peoples in this council, and she has not stood from her throne in 11 days. Every minister on this station is terrified, because for the Karos, a ruler who cannot stand is a ruler whose people believe the universe has turned against them. Fleets are already repositioning along the border, waiting to see if the empire is still strong enough to hold its ground. If she does not rise soon, there will be war, and not the kind that stays contained to one system. Her son died 11 days ago. He was a pilot, only 23 years old, and he broke formation during an attack to pull 2 engineers out of a collapsing hangar. The roof came down before he could get clear himself. Command called it a heroic loss. The Empress has not spoken since she heard the words. I push past the guard's spear with my forearm, feel the cold metal slide against my sleeve, and step into the throne room before anyone can stop me. The room is enormous and almost silent. Rows of untouched food trays are stacked along the walls like something built out of habit rather than hope. And there, draped across a wide stone slab they call the reclining throne, is the Empress herself, twice my height even lying down, her long limbs still, her eyes open but fixed on nothing. I do not kneel. I learned early that kneeling in front of a Karos reads as mockery, not respect. So instead, I walk forward and sit down on the floor beside the throne, right at the level of her eyes. I am not here to fix this, I say. Nothing moves for a long moment. Then her eye membrane flickers toward me, the first motion anyone has recorded from her in 6 hours, according to the medical staff outside. You should not be in this room, she says. Her voice comes out rough, like machinery that has not been used in days. Probably not, I say, but I have been sitting outside that door for 3 hours, listening to your ministers argue about fleet positions, like your son's death is a scheduling problem, and I could not do it anymore. Her claws tighten slightly against the stone. I cannot bring him back, I tell her. I cannot even promise you that this feeling fades, because I do not know that for certain. What I can tell you is something my people believe, something small and a little stubborn. We believe grief and anger are almost the same thing wearing different clothing. And when the grief becomes too heavy to carry on its own, sometimes the anger is what gets you back on your feet. Not because the pain is gone, because the pain does not get to decide whether you are still capable of standing. You lecture an empress, she says. I am not lecturing an empress, I answer. I am talking to a mother. The room stays quiet, except for the low hum of the station's air systems. I do not fill the silence. I have learned that with the Karos, filling silence too quickly is its own kind of disrespect. Finally she speaks again, and her voice has changed slightly, sharper now instead of hollow. He disobeyed a direct order, she says. He was not supposed to be near that hangar. If he had followed his instructions, he would still be alive. And 2 engineers would be dead instead, I say. He made a choice. It was his choice to make, and he made it in less than a second, with no time to weigh it out the way we are weighing it now. That is not a mistake. That is exactly the kind of person your people should want flying their ships. Her claws dig deeper into the stone, and for the first time I see a small crack of movement travel along the plating near her jaw, a place that has been locked shut since the day the news arrived. It is not the Karos way to rise on anger, she says. We rise when the debt owed by the universe has been settled. His death has not been settled. Nothing has been settled. Then settle it the human way, I say. Get furious. Not at him, not at the engineers he saved, but at whatever set of circumstances put a 23-year-old pilot in a position where that split-second choice was ever necessary. Get so angry at the war, at the raid, at every failure that led to that hangar collapsing, that standing up becomes the only way to answer it. That is not weakness. That is the ugliest, least noble reason to do anything, and where I come from, it works more often than pride ever does. She turns her head slightly, and for the first time since I entered the room, she looks directly at me instead of through me. Explain this anger, she says. Explain it the way your people understand it. When someone we love is taken from us before their time, I say, some of us cry, some of us go quiet, and some of us get so angry that our hands shake, and that anger becomes fuel instead of poison. It does not mean we love them less. It means the loss demands an answer, and standing up is the only answer strong enough to give. And if I stand, she says slowly, and the anger fades before the war does, what then? Then you find a new reason to stand the next morning, I say. And the morning after that. Grief does not leave all at once. It leaves in pieces, and every time you get back on your feet, you take one more piece away from it. For a long moment she says nothing at all, and I begin to think I have said too much, that I have overstepped in a way no envoy should ever overstep with a foreign ruler. I brace myself for the guards to finally step in and remove me. Instead, the Empress plants her lower limbs against the base of the throne. The sound that follows is unlike anything I have heard in this station before, a deep crack and hiss as ancient plating along her legs and back unlocks after 11 days of stillness. The ministers outside must hear it too, because I catch the faint sound of raised voices through the closed doors, sharp gasps that carry all the way into the throne room. She rises slowly, joint by joint, until she stands at her full height, nearly twice mine, her long shadow stretching across the stacked food trays that have not been touched in over a week. Her eyes are steady now, locked onto something far beyond this room, beyond this station, out toward the border, where fleets have been waiting to see if she would ever stand again. I have decided, she says, her voice stronger now, carrying through the chamber, to be furious at the correct things. The doors open behind me, and the ministers who had been arguing outside fall completely silent, some of them lowering their heads, one of them making a low sound I have never heard a karass make before, something close to relief, mixed with grief, mixed with something like hope. The Empress does not look at them, she looks only at me. Tell your people, she says, that the empire stands again, and tell them it stands because of anger, not because it forgot what it lost. I nod, and for a moment, neither of us says anything else. There is nothing else that needs to be said. Later that night, back in my own quarters, I receive a message from the head of the diplomatic council, asking exactly what happened in that room, how I convinced her, what secret negotiation tactic I used, that none of their trained diplomats could manage in 11 days. I do not know how to explain it to them in the language of diplomacy, so I write back the only honest answer I have. I tell them I did not use a tactic at all. I simply told her the truth, the same truth my own people have leaned on more times than I can count, in moments far smaller than the fall of an empire, and moments just as large. Sometimes the reason we get back on our feet is not wisdom, and it is not peace, and it is not even courage in the way stories usually describe it. Sometimes it is nothing more than anger, aimed at exactly the right target, strong enough to carry the weight grief leaves behind. Back home, we do not call that a diplomatic breakthrough. We just call that Tuesday.